G'day guys, my name is Wildcat and welcome back to my channel. Wales versus Australia, Spring Tour 2021. To be quite frankly, I'm very disappointed with some of the selections here in the Wallabies team. This is the match that I look forward to the most out of the Spring Tour. Wales and Australia, I have ever since the Rugby World Cup, I wanted to see this rematch. Australia, I felt I got a bit hard done by the referee in the Rugby World Cup, losing to Wales. So I really wanted to see this match. However, the Wallabies selections is just appalling. It's pretty obvious to me, and you can let me know what your thoughts are with this issue, that some of the selections are made by agents, between the agents and the coaches in the back boardroom meetings instead of actual merit. The boomers that came back to the rugby squad has performed pretty poorly for the Wallabies, and yet they are still getting starting spot in the Wallabies squad. So I have no doubt that, Curly Beale is selected at number 15 again. Has anything to do with his performance, but politics backs politics behind the scenes where his agent and as well as the Rory Arnold and Will Skelton, it's their agents has negotiated a deal with the Wallabies to guarantee them a starting spot for the paycheck. Otherwise, there would not be as a condition for them to join the Wallaby squad. I have no doubt. I have absolutely no doubt that is the reason why these three guys are selected, and it's quite disgusting. It's quite appalling. And this is where the Wallabies goes down in drain. And I quite honestly, I hate these three guys with a passion. This is where your team goes down to the shits. Like, for short-term gains for the Wallabies, massive long-term sufferings, because you have players like Matt Phillip, who's performed so well, and then Darcy Swain as well, who has done so well for the Wallabies, not even getting a spot because of some backhanded dealings that the coaches have with the agents of these players. It's just absolutely disgusting. I'm actually really angry. I'm furious on these sort of selections. I probably have to watch this game because for the reviews, and yeah, I'm actually just absolutely disgusted by these selections. It's just and this is why people leave. I wouldn't be surprised if Matt Phillip goes overseas and just be like, screw it, I can make more money overseas. I don't care. And in fact, if I go overseas and have my agent have a chat with these coaches beforehand, I probably get handed more money when I come back to play for the Wallabies anyway. So why would you? Why would you play for the Wallabies? Why would you play rugby in Australia anyway? Just go overseas and get your agent to get your Wallabies jersey and get you more money. Who cares? This is just appalling. Anyway, so in terms of selections, the losers aside, the tight head forwards are back. Tupou are back. Tupou is back for the Wallabies. Tololatu is getting a starting position, which I don't know why. Again, maybe there's some backroom dealings here as well, because Faianga is the best hooker for Australia. Not sure why Latu is getting a starting position after his atrocious performance against England. So yeah, I don't know. So yeah, obviously Michael Hooper is probably the big name that the Wallabies are missing. So P. Samuel comes in. He's done pretty well for the Wallabies, deservingly at number 7. And Daugunu comes in at number 11. Tom Wright gets dropped to the bench. So Curly Beale doesn't get dropped. Tom Wright gets dropped. Like, literally the best. One of the better performers out of the Wallabies in the back line gets dropped. So yeah, you tell me if there's no politics involved in these sort of selections. It's absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Like, if you're a journalist watching this, go dig something up. Something is wrong here. Like, I'm sure you should go dig up. There should be something that a big news here for you. Like, there's something is wrong here with the selections. You don't need to be. Anyway, Lockie Swinton finally gets another spot at number 20, I guess, following Hooper's injuries. I thought Swinton has done pretty well for the Wallabies, bringing that physicality for the team. And Lalakai Foketi gets a spot at number 22. And yeah, basically, Peresi gets dropped for that as well. So anyway, the Welsh team is a very similar lineup they played against the Springboks, which they did really, really, really well. They almost put up us upset against the Springboks all the way until the very near the end of maybe the last 20 minutes where the Springboks finally pulled ahead. And this is the side that, and based on that selection, this Welsh team actually improved on some of the selections based on that. So this is actually a slightly stronger team than the team that played against the Springboks that almost upset them 2 weeks ago. So especially when it comes to the selections, Wyn Jones comes off the bench to the loose head position. He had a bit of a injury or something recently, so he's back. Also in the back line, Liam Williams comes back in, number 15, starting at number 15. Really huge selections. Josh Adams was thought to be a little bit injured, but he's good to go again. And there's a bit of a newcomer here. Hala Holo comes in at number 12 for Wales. And that's pretty much the main changes. And on the bench, again, Wales has interestingly opted for Rhys Priestland instead of Gareth. What is it? What is his name? Gareth Anscombe for that reserve number 10 position. So interesting how they selected Priestland, the veteran here. Johnny McNichol has done pretty well for the Springboks, moved to the bench in favor of Liam Williams. So that's the overview for the lineup. So let's have a look at some details going into this match. So the history between Australia and Wales, like I said, I was pretty looking forward to this match. While Australia had a really long winning streak against Wales for quite a bit, pretty much dominating Wales, and then suddenly when Warren Gatland's starting to turn the Welsh team around, Australia really starting to fall behind. Pretty much all started in the spring tour in 2018, where Wales beat Australia for over 10 years. I think that was at this point. Yeah, 10 years when last time Wales beat Australia, so finally turned that around in a rainy day as well. I remember this one. Rainy day, Wallabies lost to Wales. And then following that in 2019, Warren Gatland done it again. In the pool stage, Wales beat Australia. I thought this was a much closer game than Australia. Gareth Davies scoring an intercept try was pretty huge. And there was a penalty against Samu Kerevi for a bit of rough handling on, I think it might be Biggar, or it could be Patchels. It's either Biggar or Patchels, so basically kind of carrying the ball, bumped into Biggar, a bit of forearm kind of slid up to Biggar's face, and then that kind of made a huge turning point against Australia. So I was really, really looking forward to see this match, and based on the selections, I'm quite disgusted. Quite disgusted. So as I mentioned, the weather in Cardiff is probably a big thing. It's going to be raining, and the Millennium Stadium has a roof, but I'm pretty sure because of COVID protocols, they're not able to close the roof. Or if you ask the Welsh, they will say they have the roof open so that God can watch Wales attack. There you go. So the roof won't be closed due to COVID reasons, unless they decide otherwise. But as far as I know, that is not going to be closed. So it's going to be wet and rainy, and conditions kind of similar to this match here in 2018, where it was kind of wet conditions where Wales kind of put ahead. Going into this match, Wales lost to New Zealand pretty convincingly, and then came out with a much stronger side due to the selections against the Springboks, and that was really, really close. Wales was truly ahead for about 60 minutes, and then finally this Springboks bench were able to pull ahead against the Welsh. Really, really impressive there. Wales put Fiji away last week. This was a bit of a tough match for Wales. They actually were behind for most of the match, and despite Fiji getting a red card and yellow card, playing against 13-side Fijian team, Wales was still able to pull ahead. Finally, bit of individual performance by Luis Zamet. Luis Rees-Zammit, finally, the youngster able to score a try in the last few minutes to put Wales ahead. Australia had a pretty good run going into the sprint tour with the help of Quade Cooper and Samu Kerevi. And then once the two star players gone, and then the new, some of these new boomers came in, the losers came into the squad, really Australia just fell apart. A tight loss to Scotland. This one kind of Australia did suffer a little bit with injuries, with two tight head props getting concussed. And then going to England match, again, Australia did not have tight heads. The two starting tight heads were gone. a bit of an issue, and also the backline was non-existent in terms of support. This was an atrocious game to watch. The handling was awful, just ball being passed to nobody on the ground. England actually had a pretty poor game themselves, giving away a lot of penalties, allowing Australia to stay in, but still, this score could have been much bigger against Australia. So anyway, let's have a look at the actual lineup comparison. So in the propping positions, Wyn Jones, Ryan Elias, Thomas Francis has been quite a solid starting for the Wales team. Wyn Jones was on the bench against the Springboks, and he had a bit of injury against the All Blacks, so he wasn't playing. So he's probably the best. Some people think he's the best loose head prop in Europe. So Wyn Jones is back at number 1. He's up against James Slipper, who's been struggling a little bit. Tolo Latu, again, I don't know why he's starting. He's one of the boomers that's been called back into the squad. He was on the bench last week. Not too impressive, especially with Fainga'a being so good. And then Talena Tupou, a tight head for the Wallabies, finally back from a bit of knock. And Tupou is the best tight head in Australia. So it'll be interesting to see how he match up against supposedly the best loose head in the Northern Hemisphere in Wyn Jones. So this will be a really interesting and fun matchup to see. In the lock positions, Adam Beard, he's absolutely solid for Wales. I actually overlooked how good he is because he's always kind of being overshadowed by Alan Wyn Jones. But Alan Wyn Jones being injured, Adam Beard has really stepped up and being able to show that he's well and truly an international level player. Against Itzabeth, he played pretty extremely well. And Seb Davies comes in at number 5, who also been lifting his game a lot. Since Alan Wyn Jones' departure, he's actually really good as well. So in the locking position, Isaac Rodda probably had a bit of a poor game last week against England. His penalty count is getting really up there. So maybe Isaac Rodda, I thought maybe he could have been dropped also because he's the amount of he has a really high work rate, much higher work rate than the loser Boomer. But he is the penalty count that he's giving away is just a little bit too high, and missed tackles as well a little bit too high, starting to creep up quite a bit. So Isaac Rodda, really looking forward for him to really lift his game a little bit. Number 6 spot in the Wales side, Ellis Jenkins comes in number 6. TM Basham comes in number 7, and Aaron Winwright at number 8. This is a pretty solid selection for the Wales team for the loose forwards. For the Wallabies, Rob Leota gets number 6 jersey again. He's been okay. I thought maybe Arthur Swinton is still better, but I don't mind too much with number 6. Samuel comes in as number 7. He's been really good off the bench for the Wallabies with a lot of energy, and he's here for the injured Michael Hooper, who is going to be sorely missed in the Wallabies backline, as Hooper is the biggest workhorse for the Wallabies team. So yeah, not mention he's the captain. So this could be a bit of an issue for the Wallabies team. They already lacked a lot of cohesion last week, so missing Michael Hooper could even add to that the cohesion issue in the team. The Rob Valentini, very solid performer, stays at number 8 for the Wallabies. Nick White stays at number 9 after a bit lackluster performance, I guess. Anyway, Tomo Williams stays at number 9 for the Welsh. Dan Biggar gets that number 10 jersey back at number 10, and he's up against James O'Connor. James O'Connor, good. I have to give a bit of credit for him last week. He's really stepped up last week. His kicking game was 100%. Really kept the Wallabies in the game for his goal kicking as well. So it was pretty good to see. In a very lackluster team of the Wallabies last week, James O'Connor was by far the best player and was able to keep the Wallabies in the race against England. Josh Adams had a bit of injury scare, but he's good to go again in the winner position for the Wales. Filipo Dagunu finally gets a spot at the Wallabies at number 11. He had been pretty good for the Reds. Surprisingly, not given much opportunities for the Wallabies. Maybe his play style is not quite suitable for, not quite the taste for Dave Rennie. Not too sure, but he's finally getting a spot. I'm glad to see. And Ulysses Halalholo comes in number 12 for the Welsh team in Inter Centre, and Nick Tompkins at outside centre for the Welsh team. And then Hunter Paisami comes in at number 12 for the Wallabies, and Len Ikitel comes in at number 13 in the centre combination for Wallabies. These two guys also, so Len Ikitel had a better combination with Samuel Kurevi. Those two guys just seem to work a bit better. Hunter Basami and Linky Etel, I don't know. I feel like this is very clunky that the two worked as a pair in the center combination. Hunter is like maybe a little bit overly aggressive, and Len Nikitel tends to hand back maybe a little bit too much. So these two guys has quite a bit of rust, and yeah, so something that they can definitely improve on. Luis Riz-Zamet comes in number 14. The rising young star, potentially rookie of the year by the World Rugby. Will agree to it or not. He's up against the other technically rookie of the year but not nominated, Andrew Callaway. By the way, Andrew Callaway is also debut for Wallabies this year. I'm not sure why that he's not nominated for rookie of the year. Just so you know, Andrew Callaway scored tries, scored at least one try against the All Blacks, and at least I think he may have scored one try against the Springboks as well. So Louis Zamet, you have been pretty impressive this year, but I'm pretty sure scoring tries against New Zealand in Eden Park is more important, more impressive than you. So I thought Andrew Callaway should have been nominated, to say the least. Liam Williams at number 15 for the Welsh, quite a veteran, solid player at a fullback. And then Curly Beals, yeah, I don't even care, gets his agent, gets himself another number 15 jersey. And for the substitutes, Elliot D, number 16, Gareth Thomas, number 17, and Dylan Lewis, number 18 for the Welsh reserve front rowers. Fainga the best hooker for the Wallabies, somehow gets to be on the bench, number 16. Angus Bell, the best loose forward for the Wallabies, number 17. And Ala Toa comes in at number 18. This is a pretty strong bench front row for the Wallabies, so there could be potentially a bit of a advantage here for the Wallabies coming in the second half. Ben Carter comes in at number 19 for the Welsh, and Will Skelton, his agent, gets him another spot at number 19. Christian Christ, actually his name is Christ Schuinza. He's a Welsh player from the Czech Republic. I think he was born, from what I've read. Gets his potential second test cap for the Welsh. Lockie Swinton finally gets another shot for the Wallabies at number 20. Gareth Davies, number 21, the bane of Wallabies' existence in the Rugby World Cup, coming off the bench again as a strong finisher. And Tate McDermott comes in at 21. Had a bit of a rough game last week. The passes wasn't very good coming off the bench last week, so looking for a big improvement from Tate McDermott. And Reece Priestland comes in at number 22 for Wales. And Johnny McNichol at fullback for Wales reserves at number 23. Lalakai Foketi comes in at number 22 for the Wallabies, and Tom Wright gets on the fullback position, potentially reserve at number 23. So interesting to see that the Welsh team actually able to put up a stronger side against the Springboks. So this will be a pretty tough game for the Wallabies. Hopefully the return of the tight head props can make the Wallaby play, bring a better performance out of the Wallabies. But missing Hooper and having agents doing the selections in the back boardrooms is quite a big issue for the Wallabies. Let me know what your thoughts are, and let me know your predictions. I think Wales. I think Wales definitely deserves this win based on their performances, and just based on the fact that you have agents or whatever doing back politics, selecting people. Quite disgusted. Anyway, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. I'll see you guys a bit later this week for more reviews and previews. Cheers.